African Democratic Congress has dismissed claims of an ongoing Christian genocide in Nigeria, saying there is no verifiable evidence to support such allegations. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, stated this in response to former U.S. President Donald Trump's recent comments designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern and urging possible U.S. military intervention over alleged persecution of Nigerians. Abdullahi said while killings across the country are deeply troubling, labeling them as genocide is inaccurate and misleading. He emphasized that no one is accusing the Nigerian government of religious persecution, arguing that political incompetence and insecurity, not targeted religious violence, are to blame for the crisis. He further accused the ruling All Progressive Congress of twisting legitimate criticism into political attacks, adding that the ADC rejects the notion that foreign governments should define Nigeria's internal security problems. We are embarrassed that outsiders are framing our challenges in divisive terms, Abdullahi said. What do you make of this story and, generally the issues around the U.S. possible invasion of Nigeria to curtail or fight terrorism, in the words of Trump?
I think that we are putting up, this is part of the problem that we're having in this era, even where people who are born in a system where diplomacy, and respect of the sovereignty of nations are now in charge of government. I mean, if Trump says we want to collaborate with the Nigerian government, help tackle terrorism, because terrorism internationally is a threat, comments will be welcome. But it will sound like you will land troops in Nigeria, possibly without the say-so of the Nigerian government, that you are coming to fight, what do you call it, those who are modern Christians. I'm a Christian, and I know that, unfortunately Christians have been killed. I also know that these same men who have no respect for proper behavior have also killed Muslims, even in their mosques. There's evidence of that, But I believe that a solution should be found. I don't want to join issues with anyone. I just think that if the Nigerian government knows what it's doing, it should go out there and completely stamp this thing out. For 16 years we've had terrorists in our midst. We have an army that's been unable to deal completely with guerrilla warfare. So, let's save where people, because again I'm also afraid maybe there are some divisions that we don't know about within the army, because this is not the army that went to Liberia and rescued
Fort Ekumogwo.
It's just not that army, and but give and take. I think not to stretch this fact, the Nigerian government must make good. All these people who are now saying A or saying B, whether genocide exists or not, we should throw our common energy into solving this problem, because it first began in the northeast, it has spread through the northwest, the north central is not at peace everywhere. So I think we should go out there, hit these guys.
Now, the question now will be, does Nigeria have the political will to? I'm asking this question because I have watched interviews granted by the current Zamfara state governor, where he said, and I'm quoting him, even in his interview in BBC, he said it clearly. He says that he knows where he said the government knows where they are. The government knows who they are. The government knows where they live. The government has every single detail about them. Now, but the government cannot do anything.
Look, when Jonathan was the president of this country, remember I said there was a political Boko Haram? And that the political Boko Haram was in his administration. Now, we have had incidents of names released to the Nigerian government by the intelligence community. Why are we afraid to name those? Ted Cruz said in a recent video that he was going to name those. I am one of those praying that he does. Let us see now. These people have become untouchables. This is a country of untouchables. So the more money you have, the more you are embedded in the system, and nobody can do just anything. I want to know who those sponsors are.
Now, that still brings us to the conversation with regards to the United States now saying they are going to do that which the government, like I said, do they have the political will to do? Now, if Jonathan said that he has political Boko Haram within his system, Buhari came promising better. And recall that during Jonathan's tenure, the opposition in Jonathan's tenure traveled to the White House to report Nigeria insecurity to the US. That's the fact. And then the US now started asking questions. I remember one time during that time that Christian Amampo actually came into Nigeria and left. She didn't really take that much time. It wasn't, the Chibok girls was an international saga. And that brought a lot of international attention to Nigeria. And that attention sustained till date. Now, Buhari, who was in opposition then, with the opposition promising, in fact, part of their campaign promises was insecurity, taking advantage of Chibok Girls saga and some other, because Chibok Girls was in the limelight, but there were other kidnaps that were done during that time. Buhari came into power and insecurity got worse, increasingly worse under Buhari's regime. That happened. And it appears then that there was an there was a kind of courage, sudden courage that these bandits had to operate then. Now, we are in Tinubu's tenure, still the same opposition, and the insecurity is getting worse. You recall one of the then aides, I think, to the late President Buhari, even said on social media that he made reference to himself as being proud of being an Islamic extremist and all of that. These tweets now, all those careless comments they made on social media, is now trending. Nigerians, internet never forgets. Nigerians are digging it up and tagging the President Trump, tagging international figureheads to come and see the persons. I think to a large extent, just like Dawood Lawal of Zamfara State said, we know them to Nigerians, because now evidences are coming up. One would say Zamfara State has suffered so much genocide. And when we talk about genocide, isn't that a systematic wiping away of probably a sect, a community, and all of? So what exactly, when we mention genocide, it's as if it's rocket science. It's not. Our village is not annihilated. Villages are being annihilated, be it Christian, be it Muslim, but there is genocide happening in Nigeria in real time. And the governor of a state where the same genocide is happening comes out on international press, even on local. He also gave another interview. He granted another interview on one of the Nigerian televisions and said it openly that he knows them. The government knows them, but he also indicted the federal government because Governor Dawood Lawal said in that interview that he is not in charge of the military. Neither is he in charge of the police, in as much as the fact that he knows them. The security architecture is not in his control. What does that say? I will ask you again, sir. Does the federal government, you are a former House of Rep member, so you have walked, you have walked the corridors of power. As at the time you were a House of Rep member, there was insecurity in the country. So I will ask you again, as someone who have worked very closely with power at that level, at that national level, does the government have the political will? Are they willing to crush insecurity? First question. Second question, can Nigeria military and security system, if they are willing to fight, if they have full government backing, do you think they have the capacity to crush these terrorists?
Anyway, if you want to make omelets, you must be ready to crack eggs. And when you look at what is going on, I don't think sufficiently we demonstrated the will, to carry this thing through. And the reason also is that there are these tendencies which are typically Nigerian. You find there are maybe some forces in the north that think that all of these agents of destabilization are doing a great deed pursuant to the northern interest. If you're talking about Christian genocide, what it means is that there must be a systematic behavior pattern by the Islamists.
Islamic extremists, not they are peaceful Islams.
I know what I'm saying, because you see, if you want to locate it properly, that's when you put the term extremists. Because if you are suggesting that there's a genocide involving Christians, you are saying that there may be another faith that is benefiting from the genocide.
If we look at this now, let's bring it down to Christian genocide. How many mosques has been burned? When you do a comparative analysis of the number of churches that has been burned by these jihadists as against the number of mosques that has come under attack.
Yes.
Now, how many persons have been killed while worshipping in the mosque as against how many persons have been killed while worshipping in churches?
But what you should take home is not whether I know that figuratively you can say that more Christians have been killed in their place of worship, but Muslims have also been killed in their place of worship.
How many mosques? I'm trying to make it make sense, because you would say that it is infinitesimally microscopic. Now, I'm not looking down on the killings.
Look,
every life matters. But when we also shy away from the fact that there has been a targeted killing of a certain religion, a religious sect, I think that would be unfair to lives that have been lost. That's why I now said, if we narrow it down that way.
If you heard me, I don't want us to go through, because now what we didn't call it won't solve this problem. What we want is a solution.
Is the government willing to do that?
Well,
from the much that you know.
Well, I can see that there is some commitment, towards finding a more permanent situation, and it's a good thing that even though not put in the best of languages, that the reaction coming from the United States has ignited what looks like, I think it will lead to some high-level collaboration in order to find a solution. Some make this thing look like it could be religious, it could be ethnocentric, but also there
is also that conspiracy theory of the solid minerals. Solid minerals in the north, in these areas.
That's what I'm doing.
Go ahead.
Now, so you can see
it's complex.
That there is a complex situation, and we must get. Okay, if you remember, the president granted pardon to some people, including some people who did illegal mining. And a senator, a particular senator in the north, was supposed to, based on what the statement said, they was supposed to rehabilitate those people. It sends you a lot of message. Okay, now those are his boys, or those are people from his given area, and he has a responsibility. The question to ask is, this man is so rich that he can rehabilitate illegal miners. Well, that's fine. Now, but this is a point I'm just trying to make. If you look at it closely, it becomes something that you can say to yourself. The more you look, the less you see. Now, But with the America's interest hovering overhead, I think that the security agencies, which have done enough to fight, but which has suffered from division, because some people have been responsible for leaking the position of the Nigerian troops that led those crazy, bloodthirsty people to sometimes ambush them and kill them.
Now, when that also, this statement you just made about possible sabotage within the military also brings us to another point of conversation in this whole issue of terrorism. It's on record, even public records, that some of these terrorists who the government said surrendered were, according to the government, rehabilitated. Even the military said they were rehabilitated and absolved back. Now, I am confused, genuinely, honestly confused. Please, I need to be reminded of one time. Because when the military, they will say they struck, this number of terrorists were arrested. We've heard of so much arrest, not one prosecution. Not one successful conviction. I need to be reminded of one. I mean, people who have committed less heinous crimes have been prosecuted, convicted, they are serving out their sentences. That reminds me of a case of a young man in Adamawa State who fought terrorists, who came, yes, I'll call them terrorists, who came Fulani herdsmen. That was the story. Who he had altercation with on his farm. And they attacked him. And unfortunately for the person that attacked him, he was able to subdue that person and killed the person in that fight. And he was arrested, jailed, sentenced to death. He appealed it to the appeal court. They affirmed the judgment of the lower court. He went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court affirmed it, sentenced him to death. Meanwhile, he was defending himself. It is not news that a lot of people who were killed on their farmlands. The position even the judiciary has taken, would one say it is protective of the victims. So having sentenced that man to death and it was upheld even by Supreme Court, how will people even defend themselves? Secondly, who armed these people? How is it that scrawly, dirty looking people who you know that on a good day they may not be able to even afford that kind of, how do they afford these expensive guns, these expensive ammunitions that they carry? I think we should be asking questions. Who are protecting these people? How come the Nigerian judiciary has not been able to successfully convict one person? How come the military has not been able to prosecute? What is going on?
Do you expect a judiciary that is more concerned about political cases to deal with issues? This is the thing. I think that, if all things will pass away and a new way of doing business will stand, then I want to invest some hope that perhaps this time, given the fact that the Nigerian situation, even up to yesterday night, there are still references on CNN to the Nigerian situation. Oh,
President Trump just gave press release. That was some few hours ago. Few hours ago, I think about 7 or 8 hours ago.
So you can see
so he's still maintaining that position.
Yes, and then you see even if it's the position in Congress now, relating to Nigerian issues.
Canadian Congress has also discussed that.
So you can
see the world is now discussing it.
It's a global issue. Somebody was trying to say protect the pastor who blew this into the open so they don't kill him. And my response on X was simple. It's too late. You can't kill him. If you kill him, you worsen the situation. Now, look at this sequence. Excuse me. Trump makes a comment that hours after, the Arewa group faces a rise in Lagos. Because it's a serious matter. And I listened to them, experienced persons in their own rights. Be careful with their speech. And of course, there was a major takeaway: when there is an external threat, all of us should do what? Come together. And you saw everyone who spoke with specific reference to his part of the region, whether it's northeast, north west, or north central. Now, but so what do you gain from that? It's that, well, suddenly, if there will be troops landed to fight foreign troops, to fight genocide, they will not be landed in the south. They will be landed in the north. And so, it's the north that will bear the brunt of foreign invasion. You know? Because largely in the south is a Christian stronghold. And we don't have an established pattern of attacking mosques in the south. So, relatively, if this happens, it's not the south that will bear the destiny. But the only reason that as a southerner I will feel diminished is that there are international protocols. And I expect that Trump and the United States will follow those protocols.
All right.
Particularly those protocols that respect the sovereignty of a nation.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Bona. I wish we have more time to discuss, because this whole issue, there are a lot of conspiracy theories swinging, around my head, particularly with respect to the interest of U.S. on Nigerian soil and China responding, considering that the illegal mining has been linked to China.
Even the EU too has responded.
Yes.
On the side of Nigeria.
So there are a lot of politics going on.
A lot of it.
If one follows international politics very well and what is happening in the north, who is, responsible for the illegal mining, we can understand where each country
its interest is vetted.
Yes, exactly.